Hey, what's up? Ryan K here, and this is an Ask Ryan Anything video. Today I got a question from Michael, and here's what he wanted to know. He said, I have a background in tech support, and I wanted to get into web development or into programming, but I'm not as far along as I want to get. How do I get into that dev position? Having a hard time finding time to practice coding. This is a great example of one of the things we struggle with when we're trying to transition from here to here, from where we're at to where we want to be. A lot of times we would love that transition to be extremely smooth, that we have a full-time job and we learn a new skill and then we jump instantly into that job. But normally what happens is we get stuck in this education experience trap. Effectively, what happens is I can't get the job without experience, but I can't get experience without having the job. And that really is the rub or the challenge that comes. So for Michael, I see that there's two main things you can do. So number one is to change out your full-time job. So Michael has a full-time and a part-time job. He works in tech support full-time, and he also works at FedEx part-time. And he has a engineering degree, but now he's trying to get a job, but he has a degree and no experience, and they want experience. So here's the two options for you, Michael. Step number one is to switch out your full-time job. What I would mean by that is you need to get closer to the programming team from where you're at. If you're in tech support, this normally means leveling up to, say, a higher tier of tech support until you could jump over into the product side of the equation in a tech company. A great entry point might be looking for a testing job, because that at least gets you on the product team instead of the support team. And that's what you're trying to jump. The steps from that is either try to get a job where you are the go-between between support and the product team. That's option one. I know I have product managers who made that leap. Or number two, figure out your way to get an entry-level testing job instead of tech support job. That's normally going to be easiest to navigate at your current company, meaning switching between those roles but staying in the same company, same industry. But that's what I would try to do. Swap out your tech support full-time job for a testing job. That will put you on the product team, especially where testing and product testing is now. There's a lot more automation. There's a lot more coding of automation tests and those types of things. It will start to get your hands dirty into the database, the data model, all those types of things. So that's option number one. Option number two is to swap out your part-time job. And the way you go about doing this is most programmers who took the other path got into programming by building websites, and websites are something that you can do on the side. So the way you go about doing that is you put yourself out there, build out your LinkedIn profile to say that you build websites and do web development, small projects, not big ones. Build out your LinkedIn profile, build out your Facebook profile, start engaging and find a neighbor, somebody in your local community, anybody who's looking to have a website built. Very small project, but something that you can actually do and get enough of those leads to give up your or scale back your part-time job and replace it with one-off web development kind of agency contractor type work. Build a website here, build a website there. Since it won't be your dominant form of money, but you'll be replacing that FedEx job that has no relation to what you want to do with something that will both build your resume as well as build your skill set and give you projects to be able to show to people. And so my gut says you could also, option number three is do both of those, because doing both of those would help you in leveling that way. But pick your poison, but it's got to be one of those two. Otherwise, you got to find a way to find more time. But if I had any extra time, the lowest hanging fruit is most likely to start your own little side hustle, building a few websites, because finding somebody who needs a website is pretty easy. And building those websites also switches you from hourly work to pay per project. That's going to level up your earnings per hour. And so you're switching not from, say, FedEx that pays you hourly to building websites hourly, but you're switching from FedEx that pays you hourly to doing a project where you can actually make more per hour than you're making right now. You won't actually have to work as many hours. It will free up more of that time. So if I'm you, I go for option number two. That's my starting point. See if you can get a couple small businesses in your local community that will either have you rebuild their website, have you build a new website for them, etc. That will get you out of that part-time job and into making money as a contractor for those smaller businesses and then you can take on progressively harder and harder projects. You can build more and more difficult things. You'll start making money per project, not per hour. And that is a great intermediary step that will get you more into the software world. It will get you experience in coding languages, not just say like what you got in college. It will give you projects to show off, but mostly it will increase your earnings per hour at your part-time job to free up more time to build bigger and bigger, more complex projects. Also, one of those little side gigs might lead you into a more full-time job or build your network of people who will know other people that can refer you. And so there you go. And that would be the last part. As you're building out your business, as you're building out those side gigs or the side hustles, you're taking on those projects. If you start, that will build up your network strength, which will give you more likelihood, a better likelihood of getting a referral into the actual job you want to get into. Hopefully, you can take something from what I just explained to Michael. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, I would love to hear and answer your questions. Please shoot me an email. I'd love to go to Refer.io. You can get our contact us page, submit a question. I would love to answer any questions you have about looking for a job, getting a job, becoming successful at your new job, leveling up your career, or making the jump or transition into a totally different career path. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.